Captain Jake Morrison stared out the window of the ship's bridge as stars moved past them like tiny lights in the darkness. The Pioneer's Dawn had been traveling for 3 months, going farther from Earth than any human had ever gone before. They were now beyond the Centauri system, in a part of space where no one had ever been. "Captain, we're picking up something strange on the sensors," said Lieutenant Tom Baker from his station. His voice sounded worried. Jake walked over to look. At the screen, there was a large object floating in space ahead of them. It looked like it was made of crystal, but it was huge, much bigger than their ship. "How big is that thing?" Jake asked. "About 2 miles long, sir, and it's giving off some kind of energy signal," Tom replied. Dr. Lisa Grant looked up from her workstation. She was the ship's expert on alien life, though they had never found any before. "Captain, this could be our first contact with another species. We need to be very careful." Commander Pete Harris, the ship's military officer, stepped forward. "Sir, I think we should keep our distance. We don't know if it's friendly or dangerous." Jake thought for a moment. This was the moment they had all trained for, but now that it was happening, it felt scary and exciting at the same time. "Slow us down, Tom. Let's get a better look at this thing." As they got closer, they could see that the crystal structure was beautiful. It had many sides that caught the light from nearby stars and made it sparkle like a giant diamond. But something about it seemed alive. "Captain, I'm getting readings that suggest there might be life inside that structure," Lisa said, looking at her instruments with wide eyes. "What kind of life?" Jake asked. "I'm not sure. The energy patterns are unlike anything I've ever seen. They're almost like music." Suddenly, the communication system started making sounds. But these weren't normal radio signals. They were musical tones that seemed to flow together like a song. Everyone on the bridge stopped what they were doing to listen. The sounds were strange but somehow familiar. Jake felt like he had heard something like this before, maybe in a dream. The music made him feel calm and sad at the same time. "Are they trying to talk to us?" Pete asked. "I think so," Lisa said. "But I don't understand how we can understand it. It's like the sounds are going straight into our minds." The musical sounds changed, becoming more complex. Then somehow they began to form words in their heads, not sounds they could hear, but thoughts they could understand. "Welcome, children of the scattered seed. You have finally returned to us." Everyone on the bridge looked at each other with shock. The voice in their minds was gentle but very old, like someone who had lived for a very long time. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth ship Pioneer's Dawn," Jake said out loud, not sure if the beings could hear him. "Who are you?" The response came back immediately, still as thoughts in their minds. "We are the architects. We have watched over the young races of this universe for longer than your species can count. We have waited so long for you to find us again." "Again?" Lisa whispered. "But this is our first time meeting you." The crystal structure began to glow brighter, and more musical sounds filled the communication system. "You do not remember, but we remember you. Long ago, when your world was young, we knew your kind. You are special among all the species we have watched. You carry something within you that we thought was lost forever." Jake felt his heart beating fast. This was bigger than just meeting aliens. These beings seemed to know something about humans that humans didn't even know about themselves. "What do you mean?" he asked. "Come aboard our vessel, children. Let us show you truths that your species has forgotten. Let us show you who you really are." Pete stepped forward quickly. "Captain, our protocols say we shouldn't board an alien ship. It could be dangerous," but Jake was already thinking about it. Something about the architects felt right, like meeting family he had never known he had. "They're not just any aliens, Pete. They know us somehow. They've been waiting for us." Lisa was looking at her readings again. "Captain, the energy coming from their ship isn't harmful. In fact, it's similar to brainwaves, like they're made of pure thought." "Made of thought?" Jake asked. "It's hard to explain, but they don't seem to have physical bodies like us. They're something else entirely, something very old and very powerful." The voice came into their minds again. "We understand your fear, young ones. We have frightened many species over the long years. But you are not like the others. You are our children, though you have forgotten your true home. Come to us and we will help you remember. Jake made his decision. This moment would change everything for humanity, and he knew it. Prepare a shuttle, he told his crew. Lisa, Pete, you're with me. Tom, you have the bridge. If something goes wrong, take the ship back to Earth and tell them what we found. Sir, are you sure about this? Pete asked. Jake looked at the beautiful crystal ship floating in space before them. It seemed to be calling to him. No, I'm not sure. But some things are worth the risk. If these beings really know something about humanity that we don't, we need to find out what it is. As they prepared to leave their ship, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that this meeting had been planned long before any of them were born. The architects had been waiting, and now, finally, their children had come home. The shuttle flew toward the crystal ship, and Jake felt his stomach twist with nervousness. Through the window, the alien vessel looked even more amazing up close. The crystal walls seemed to move and change color like they were alive. Captain, I'm getting some strange readings, said Danny Walsh, the young engineer who was flying the shuttle. It's like the ship is scanning us, but not with any technology I understand. Dr. Lisa Grant was looking at her instruments with confusion. The energy patterns are changing. It's almost like the ship is getting excited to see us. Commander Pete Harris kept his hand near his weapon. I still don't like this. We don't know what we're walking into. As they got closer, an opening appeared in the crystal wall. It was perfectly round and glowed with soft blue light. Danny guided the shuttle inside, and they landed on what looked like a floor made of smooth glass. When they stepped out of the shuttle, Jake was surprised that he could breathe normally. The air smelled clean, like after a rainstorm. How is there air in here? Pete asked. I think they made it for us, Lisa said, looking around in wonder. They knew we were coming. The space around them was beautiful, but strange. The walls curved, in ways that hurt to look at too long. Colors moved across the surfaces like water, and soft music played from everywhere and nowhere at once. Welcome, children. The voice came from in front of them, but there was no one there. Then the air began to shimmer and a shape appeared. It wasn't solid like a person, but made of light and energy. It looked almost human, but taller and more graceful. I am Zephyr, one of the architects. We have waited so long for this day. Jake stepped forward, trying to look brave even though his heart was beating very fast. You said we were your children. What did you mean? The being called Zephyr moved closer, and Jake felt warmth like standing in sunlight. Come, let me show you. The walls around them began to change, showing pictures like a movie. But these weren't just pictures. Jake could feel them, smell them, and hear them as if he was really there. He saw Earth, but not Earth as it was now. This was Earth long ago, covered in ice and snow. But there were people there, and they looked almost exactly like humans, but different somehow. Stronger, smarter, and their eyes glowed with inner light. This was your world 50,000 years ago, Zephyr said. But it was not your first world. The pictures changed, showing another planet. This one was beautiful, with blue oceans and green lands. Cities floated in the sky, and the people who lived there could do amazing things. They could move objects with their minds and talk to each other across great distances without speaking. This was Kepler 442b, your true home world. This is where your species was born. Danny Walsh was staring at the pictures with his mouth open. Those people, they look like us, but they're doing impossible things. Not impossible, young one. These abilities are still within you, sleeping but not gone. Dr. Amy Brooks, the ship's historian who had come with them, was studying the images carefully. I've seen these symbols before, in old Earth legends, in stories about gods and angels. Zephyr turned to her with what might have been a smile. Yes, wise one. Your myths and legends are memories of truth. We have visited your world many times over the centuries. Your ancestors remembered us as divine beings, but we are not gods. We are simply very old. Lisa was scanning the being with her instruments. Captain, I'm reading energy patterns that are incredibly complex. It's like their entire body is made of organized thought. That is correct, Zephyr said. We are consciousness without flesh. We are the thoughts and memories of a species that gave up physical form billions of years ago. We are the universe's memory keepers. The pictures changed again, showing the architects as they once were. They had been physical beings but different from humans. Taller, with large eyes and long fingers. But over time they had learned to exist as pure energy. When we became beings of thought, we gained great power but lost something important. We could no longer create. We could no longer grow. We could only preserve and protect. Jake was beginning to understand. So you created us? Made us to be what you couldn't be anymore? We tried many times with many species, but most could not handle the gifts we gave them. They destroyed themselves or became too alien to remember their origins. But with your kind, we succeeded too well. The images showed the ancient humans on their original world. They were building amazing cities and creating incredible art. But they were also arguing and fighting with each other. Your ancestors developed minds of their own. They questioned our guidance. They wanted to choose their own path even if it was dangerous. Pete was watching the images with interest. So what happened? Why aren't we still on that world? Zephyr's form grew dimmer, as if remembering was painful. They rebelled against us. They said they didn't want to be our children anymore. They wanted to be free. The pictures showed great battles between the ancient humans and the architects. The humans had built weapons that could hurt beings of pure energy. We faced a terrible choice. Destroy our greatest creation or let them go free and hope they would survive on their own. You chose to let them go, Amy said quietly. We scattered your people across many worlds. We erased their memories of us and of their abilities. We wanted them to grow naturally, to become what they were meant to be without our influence. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. And Earth was one of those worlds. Earth was the most successful colony. Your species survived and grew strong, but you also forgot who you truly were. Danny had been quiet during most of this, but now he spoke up. If we're really your children, why do I feel so comfortable with your technology? When I touch these walls, it's like I understand how they work. Zephyr moved toward Danny with excitement. Because the knowledge is still within you, sleeping in your blood. You are beginning to remember. Lisa was taking readings of Danny as he touched the crystal walls. Captain, his brain activity is off the charts. It's like the ship is talking directly to his nervous system. All humans carry this potential, Zephyr said. Some more than others. Your species was designed to bridge the gap between thought and flesh, between energy and matter. You are what we could never become again. Jake looked around at his crew, seeing them in a new light. They weren't just explorers from a young species. They were the children of the universe's oldest beings, carrying powers they had forgotten how to use. Why are you telling us this now? He asked. For the first time, Zephyr's voice sounded worried. Because something is coming. Something that threatens all life in the universe, and we are too few and too weak to stop it alone. We need our children to remember who they are. We need you to become what you were always meant to be. The chamber around them grew darker, and Jake knew their real adventure was just beginning. The walls around them changed again, showing images that made Jake's heart race. He saw great cities floating among the stars and beings of incredible power moving through space without ships. But he also saw destruction and war. Show us what really happened, Colonel Ryan Murphy said. He was the ship's security chief and had joined them on the architect vessel. His voice was hard and suspicious. You're not telling us everything. Zephyr's energy form flickered like he was uncomfortable. The truth is painful, warrior. Your ancestors were not just rebellious children. They were dangerous. The images changed to show the ancient human civilization at its peak. Jake could see that these people were incredibly advanced, but there was something wrong with the picture. The cities looked beautiful, but there were also signs of conflict everywhere. Your people learned quickly, Zephyr continued. Too quickly. Within a few thousand years, they had technology that rivaled our own. They could manipulate matter and energy like we could, but they used these powers differently than we did. Dr. Lisa Grant was studying her readings carefully. The genetic markers are clear. We're definitely related to these people. But Captain, some of these readings are disturbing. What do you mean? Jake asked. These ancient humans, they were designed for war. Look at their bone structure, their muscle development. They were built to fight. Zephyr's form grew brighter, with what seemed like sadness. We made them too well. We gave them our intelligence and our power, but we also gave them the drive to survive and compete. We did not realize how dangerous that combination would be. The images showed battles between different groups of ancient humans. They fought with weapons that could destroy entire planets and armies that moved faster than light. The destruction was terrible to watch. They didn't just rebel against us, Zephyr said. They began to threaten the balance of the entire galaxy. Other species came to us for protection. Some civilizations were completely destroyed by your ancestors' wars. Colonel Murphy stepped closer to the images. So we were conquerors, warriors who couldn't be stopped. Your people believed that strength was the most important thing. They thought that any species that couldn't defend itself deserved to be conquered. They saw the universe as something to be owned rather than protected. Danny Walsh was touching the crystal walls again, and his eyes were glowing slightly. I can feel their memories in the ship's systems. They were angry. They felt like prisoners, like the architects were holding them back from their true potential. Amy Brooks was writing notes as fast as she could. This explains so much about human history. Our tendency toward conflict, our rapid technological development, our need to explore and conquer new territories. Yes, Zephyr said. These traits served your ancestors well when they were fighting for survival. But when combined with advanced technology and unlimited power, they became a threat to all life. The images showed the final confrontation between the architects and the ancient humans. It was not a single battle, but a war that lasted for centuries across multiple star systems. We did not want to destroy them, Zephyr said. They were our children, our greatest achievement. But they gave us no choice. They had become a cancer that would consume everything. Jake felt sick watching the destruction. But you didn't destroy them. You scattered them instead. Some of us wanted to end it completely. But others, myself included, believed that the problem was not with your people but with how quickly they had gained power. We thought that if we could reset them, make them start over without their memories and advanced technology, they might develop differently. The images showed ships carrying groups of humans to different worlds across the galaxy. The humans were put into a kind of sleep, and when they woke up, they remembered nothing of their previous lives. We erased their memories and sealed away most of their abilities. We wanted them to rediscover their powers slowly, over thousands of years, so they would be wiser when they became powerful again. Lisa was looking at her genetic scanners with amazement. That's why human development has been so fast compared to other species. We're not actually a young race. We're an old race that was forced to start over. Earth was chosen because it was far from other civilizations, Zephyr continued. We hoped that isolation would help your people develop patience and wisdom before they reached the stars again. Colonel Murphy was studying the tactical displays that showed the ancient human military formations. Our ancestors were incredibly effective fighters. These battle strategies are more advanced than anything in our current military. The knowledge is still there, sleeping in your genetic memory, Zephyr said. When your species is threatened, these instincts awaken. Your wars throughout history have been practice for battles your ancestors fought among the stars. Danny's eyes were glowing brighter now, and energy was flowing between his hands and the crystal walls. I can access their weapon designs, Captain. The things they built, they're beyond anything we have now. Careful, Danny, Jake warned. Remember what happened to them. But Amy was looking at the historical records with a different perspective. Wait, there's something else here. Zephyr, you said some civilizations were destroyed by our ancestors, but I'm seeing records of civilizations that were saved too. Zephyr paused, seeming surprised. You can read our deep records? Some of it. And what I'm seeing suggests that while some humans were conquerors, others were protectors. They used their power to defend weaker species against cosmic threats. The images changed to show ancient humans fighting against dark entities that seemed to consume entire star systems. These humans were working alongside other species, not conquering them. There were two factions among your people, Zephyr admitted. The Dominators, who believed in conquest, and the Guardians, who believed in protection. The war that led to their scattering was as much between these two groups as it was against us. Jake felt a spark of hope. So not all of our ancestors were evil. No, young captain. Some of them embodied the best of what we had hoped to create. They were warriors, yes, but they fought to protect rather than to destroy. Colonel Murphy was studying the tactical displays more carefully. These Guardian formations, they're designed for defense and rescue operations. This is what our military should be learning. Zephyr's form grew brighter. The humans we scattered across the galaxy carried the genes of both factions. On each world, they had the potential to become either protectors or destroyers. Earth's humans seem to have developed a balance between both tendencies. Lisa looked up from her readings. That's why we have such capacity for both creation and destruction. We carry both legacies in our DNA. But which side will win when your powers fully awaken? Zephyr asked. This is why we have watched and waited. Your species stands at the same crossroads your ancestors faced. The choice you make will determine not just your fate, but the fate of all life in the universe. The chamber grew quiet as the weight of this revelation settled on the human crew. They were not just explorers who had stumbled upon an ancient species. They were the inheritors of a cosmic legacy that could save or destroy everything. You said, something was coming, Jake said quietly. Something that threatens all life. Is that why you're telling us this now? Zephyr's form began to fade slightly. Yes, Captain. The Harbinger approaches. It has been hunting us across the galaxy, consuming civilizations and growing stronger. We are too few and too weak to stop it. But you, with your inherited powers and your physical forms, might be able to do what we cannot. The walls around them suddenly flashed with warning colors, and alarms began to sound throughout the crystal ship. It has found us, Zephyr said, his voice filled with ancient fear. The Harbinger is here. The crystal ship shook violently, and Jake grabbed onto the nearest wall to keep from falling. Through the transparent sections of the ship, he could see something huge and dark moving toward them. It looked like a shadow that ate light itself. What is that thing? Colonel Murphy shouted over the alarms. Zephyr's energy form was flickering wildly with fear. The Harbinger. It feeds on consciousness itself. It has been hunting my people across the galaxy for millions of years. Danny Walsh was still connected to the ship's systems, and his face had gone pale. Captain, I'm reading the ship's memories. This thing has destroyed hundreds of civilizations. Entire species just gone. The shadow outside grew larger, and Jake could feel something pressing against his mind. It was cold and hungry, like a vast emptiness that wanted to swallow everything. Back on Earth, Admiral Kate Williams was receiving emergency signals from the Pioneer's Dawn. Her command center was full of people running around and shouting orders. Ma'am, we're getting reports from deep space monitoring stations. Something big is moving toward the Centauri system, reported Lieutenant Carl Stone. How big? Admiral Williams asked. Bigger than anything we've ever seen, and it's moving faster than should be possible. Dr. Ben Parker, Earth's top scientist, was studying the readings on his computer. Admiral, these energy signatures don't match anything in our databases. This isn't just an alien ship. It's something else entirely. Get me a communication link with Captain Morrison, Admiral Williams ordered. But on the Architect ship, communication was becoming impossible. The Harbinger's presence was interfering with all their systems. It's trying to get inside our minds, Lisa said, holding her head as if it hurt. I can feel it pushing against my thoughts. Zephyr moved closer to the humans. You must listen, carefully. The Harbinger is not from this universe. It is the consciousness of a universe that existed before ours. When that universe died, its collective mind refused to die with it. The ship shook again, and cracks appeared in the crystal walls. It seeks to reclaim existence by consuming all consciousness in this universe. It has already eaten the minds of entire galactic civilizations. We architects have been the only thing standing between it and total universal consumption. Jake could feel the thing pressing harder against his mind, trying to get inside. But something was fighting back. He could feel strength flowing through him that he had never felt before. The ancient human abilities, he said, understanding suddenly. They're waking up because of the threat. Yes, Zephyr said with excitement. Your species was designed to be warriors against cosmic threats. The Harbinger's presence is triggering your dormant powers. Danny's eyes were now glowing bright blue, and energy was flowing freely between him and the ship's systems. I can see how to fight it. The knowledge is all here in the ship's memory banks. Colonel Murphy felt his own changes beginning. His reflexes were becoming faster, and he could sense things around him that he couldn't see. What's happening to us? You are becoming what your ancestors were, Zephyr explained, but you have something they did not. You have learned wisdom through struggle. You understand the cost of power. On Earth, more ships were being prepared for launch. Admiral Williams was coordinating the largest fleet in human history. Dr. Parker, I need to know what we're dealing with, she said. Based on the energy readings, this entity feeds on consciousness itself. Traditional weapons won't work against it. We need something that can fight it on a mental level. What do you mean? We need minds that are strong enough to resist its influence and fight back. Based on what Captain Morrison reported about these architects, we might need to combine human consciousness with their technology. Back on the crystal ship, the battle was getting worse. The Harbinger had wrapped itself around the vessel like a giant hand made of darkness. It's trying to crush us, Amy said, watching the walls bend inward. But Zephyr was doing something Jake had never seen before. The architect was growing brighter and more solid, pouring his energy into the ship's defenses. I cannot hold it long, Zephyr said. My people are dying. We have fought this creature for so long that we are almost gone. There are less than a dozen of us left in the entire galaxy. Jake felt a surge of determination. These ancient beings had protected the universe for millions of years, and now they were almost extinct because of it. What do you need us to do? He asked. Your ship, the Pioneer's Dawn, it has a quantum communication system, yes? Yes, but what does that have to do with anything? You must contact your homeworld. Tell them what you have learned here. Your species must prepare for war, but not the kind of war you have ever fought before. Danny was accessing more of the ship's systems, and his human appearance was changing. His skin was glowing slightly, and his eyes had become pure energy. Captain, I can see the network. There are other human colonies out there. Dozens of them. The architects scattered our ancestors to more worlds than just Earth. Other humans? Lisa asked in amazement. Yes, and some of them never forgot their abilities. They've been hiding, waiting for a signal to reveal themselves. Zephyr's form was getting dimmer as he used his energy to fight the Harbinger. Your species was scattered as seeds across the galaxy. Most forgot their origins, but some worlds maintained the old knowledge. They have been preparing for this day. The ship's communication system suddenly came alive with signals from across the galaxy. Voices speaking human languages, but with accents and dialects that sounded ancient and strange. Children of Earth, we hear your call, came one voice. The worlds of New Sparta and Haven Colony are ready for battle. The descendants of the Guardian faction have been waiting, came another. We have ships and weapons your people have never dreamed of. Jake realized that humanity was not alone in the universe. They were part of a vast network of human civilizations, all descended from the same ancient people. How many of us are there, he asked. 47 surviving colonies, Danny said, reading from the ship's systems, some with populations in the billions. Captain, we're not a young species exploring space. We're an old species coming home. The Harbinger pressed harder against the ship, and Jake could feel it trying to read his memories to learn about Earth and the humans there. It knows about your homeworld now, Zephyr warned. It will go there next. Earth has the largest population of humans who don't know their true nature. They will be easy prey. Admiral Williams, still on Earth, was receiving strange reports from around the world. Ma'am, people are reporting unusual abilities manifesting globally. Telepathy, enhanced physical strength, the ability to interface with technology through thought alone, Lieutenant Stone reported. It's starting, Dr. Parker said with wonder and fear. The human race is evolving in real time. Back on the crystal ship, Jake made his decision. Zephyr, teach us everything. Show us how to use the ancient weapons, how to fight this thing. We won't let it destroy our world or any other world. Are you certain, young captain? Once you accept this knowledge, there is no going back. Your species will never be the same. Jake looked at his crew, seeing the same determination in all their faces. We were never supposed to stay the same. We're the children of warriors and guardians. It's time we remembered how to be both. The crystal ship pulsed with new energy as the architects began to transfer their entire store of knowledge and technology to the awakening humans. The real battle for the universe was about to begin. The knowledge hit Jake like a lightning bolt. Suddenly he could see the entire galaxy spread out in his mind like a map. He knew the location of every human colony, every architect refuge, and every world the Harbinger had already consumed. I can see it all, he whispered, his eyes now glowing with the same blue light as Danny's. Lisa, Amy, and Colonel Murphy were going through the same transformation. Their minds were expanding to hold thousands of years of accumulated knowledge and technology. Captain, Danny said, his voice sounding different now, older and more confident. I can control the ship like it's part of my own body, and I can feel the other human ships across the galaxy awakening too. On Earth, the changes were happening everywhere at once. Dr. Ben Parker watched in amazement as people around the world began demonstrating abilities that should have been impossible. Admiral Williams, he called out. Children in schools are moving objects with their minds. Adults are suddenly understanding complex mathematics they never learned, and some people are starting to glow. Admiral Kate Williams felt the change, happening to herself too. Her mind was becoming clearer and she could sense the thoughts of people around her. It's not just random, she realized. We're all connecting to something bigger, like we're becoming part of a vast network. The space around Earth was filling with ships that hadn't been there moments before. Human vessels from the hidden colonies were appearing, using technology that made Earth's most advanced ships look like toys. Maya Rodriguez, a young pilot from the New Sparta colony, materialized on the bridge of Admiral Williams' flagship. She didn't arrive in a ship or through a transporter. She simply stepped through what looked like a tear in space itself. Admiral Williams, Maya said, her form shimmering between physical matter and pure energy. I bring greetings from the colonies that never forgot. We are here to help Earth's children remember their heritage. Back on the crystal ship, the final confrontation with the Harbinger was beginning. The creature had grown so large that it blocked out the stars, and Jake could feel its hunger pressing against his mind like a crushing weight. It's not just trying to eat us, Colonel Murphy said, his military training now enhanced with ancient tactical knowledge. It's trying to understand us. It wants to learn how we can resist it when so many other species couldn't. Zephyr's energy form was growing dimmer by the moment. My people are dying, young captain. We have given everything we have to hold it back until you were ready. Then let us take over, Jake said, standing up straighter as power flowed through him. This is what we were made for. Danny had fully merged with the crystal ship systems, and the vessel began to change shape around them. It became sleeker, more aggressive, but also more beautiful. Human engineering was combining with architect technology to create something new. I can feel the other ships responding, Danny reported. Every human vessel in the galaxy is upgrading itself. We're not just using their technology anymore, we're improving it. The Harbinger attacked, sending waves of consuming darkness toward them. But Jake and his crew were ready. They reached out with their minds and grabbed hold of the creature's assault, turning it back on itself. On Earth, similar battles were happening in space around the planet. Human pilots were learning to fight with their consciousness as much as with their weapons. Maya Rodriguez led a squadron of ships that moved like dancers, weaving between the Harbinger's attacks while striking back with weapons made of pure thought. It's working, Admiral Williams reported to her fleet. The creature can't consume us the way it did other species. We're fighting back on every level. But the real battle was happening in a dimension beyond physical space. Jake found himself standing in a place that was made of pure consciousness, facing the Harbinger's true form. It was vast beyond comprehension, a collection of all the minds it had consumed over millions of years. Jake could see the ghosts of entire civilizations trapped within it, their knowledge and memories twisted into tools of destruction. "You are different," the Harbinger spoke with the voices of 1,000,000,000,000 dead beings. "Why do you not break as the others did?" "Because we were built for this," Jake replied, feeling the presence of every human in the galaxy supporting him. "We are consciousness and matter combined. We are thought made flesh and flesh made eternal." The battle raged across multiple dimensions. In physical space, human ships fought with weapons that could reshape reality itself. In the realm of consciousness, human minds stood together against the collected hunger of a dead universe. Lisa, now transformed into a being that existed in both states at once, reached into the Harbinger's core and began to free the trapped civilizations. "You don't have to consume to exist," she told the creature. "There's another way." Amy Brooks, enhanced with the memories of all human historians across the galaxy, showed the Harbinger the truth about its own origin. It wasn't evil by choice. It was simply the last desperate attempt of a dying universe to continue existing. "Your universe ended," she explained. "But that doesn't mean you have to end too. You can become part of something new instead of trying to recreate something that's gone." The Harbinger paused in its attack, considering this possibility for the first time in millions of years. Colonel Murphy, now commanding fleets across multiple star systems simultaneously, coordinated the final phase of the battle. But instead of destruction, it was a rescue mission on a cosmic scale. Human technology, enhanced with architect knowledge and powered by awakened consciousness, began to separate the Harbinger from the civilizations it had consumed. One by one, the trapped species were freed and given new forms of existence. The last architect, an ancient being known as the Keeper, appeared beside Jake in the consciousness realm. "This is what we always hoped you would become," the Keeper said. "Not just warriors, but healers. Not just survivors, but saviors." The Harbinger, now freed from its hunger and given a new purpose, began to transform. Instead of consuming consciousness, it became a bridge between different forms of existence, helping other species evolve beyond their physical limitations. Jake opened his eyes back on the crystal ship, which was now a hybrid of architect technology and human innovation. Around him, his crew had become something new. They were still human, but they were also more than human. "What happens now?" he asked. Zephyr's form, strengthened by the Harbinger's transformation, smiled. "Now you take your place as the universe's new guardians. The architects pass our duty to you, but you will do it in your own way. You will protect not just through power, but through understanding. You will guide not through control, but through example." Across the galaxy, human colonies were emerging from hiding and making contact with other species. Earth became the center of a new galactic civilization, one based on cooperation rather than conquest. Children were born who could exist in multiple states of being simultaneously. Scientists discovered new forms of physics that bridged the gap between mind and matter. Artists created works that existed in dimensions beyond the physical. Maya Rodriguez, now serving as Earth's first ambassador to the energy realms, established schools where young humans learned to use their abilities responsibly. Jake, promoted to admiral of the new Galactic Guardian fleet, stood on the bridge of his ship looking out at the stars. They no longer seemed distant and cold. They were home, all of them, connected by the network of consciousness that humanity had helped create. "Captain," Danny called out, still serving as his chief engineer but now capable of maintaining ships across multiple dimensions, "we're receiving a signal from the edge of the galaxy. Another species is asking for help with a cosmic threat." Jake smiled. This was what they were meant to do. Not just survive, but help others survive. Not just evolve, but help others evolve. "Set course for the signal," he ordered. "The Guardians are ready." Behind them, Earth continued to change and grow, its children spreading across the galaxy not as conquerors, but as protectors. The universe's oldest species had found their true inheritors, and the cosmos was safer for it.